Financial risk management, FRM, is for some reason a kind of qualification that a lot of students who don't know what it means also want to pursue. Now, whether it's because the word finance is in it, whether because people around you are pursuing it, or you actually know the meaning of it, I'm not sure. But if you're interested in either understanding what FRM is or its scope, hopefully this video should clear all your doubts. So let me just dive right into it. FRM is US based qualification. The body that the institute that actually conducts this exam is called GARP, Global Association of Risk Professionals. And again, by that you understand that it's a global qualification, whereas it's headquartered in US. In India, I've seen a lot of people planning on doing FRM along with CFA, because FRM is financial risk, CFA is more about finance and investment management. So you can think of FRM as a super specialization, as a subset of CFA. So if you only do FRM, it's also fine. If you do it along with CFA, it's like you've overall understood finance and then specialize in the field of financial risk. Both have tremendous scope, not just in India, but across the world and hopefully for your career. I know that FRM is something which a lot of you guys can also take if you're not sure what to do in life, but you don't want to wait for the perfect decision, which is the best way for most of us to study. It might take a long time to come up with the perfect plan, and then it also could be that the plan is not right. So as soon as you feel that you have the energy to start studying, pick up anything and FRM might just fit the bill for you. Let me come to the eligibility aspect. As long as you've cleared grade 12, you are eligible for FRM. Simple and flat. Next, let me talk about the academic structure. So FRM, like a CMA exam, is split into two parts. The first part has 4 subjects, part 2 has 6 subjects, as you can see on the screen, and part 2 is sort of dependent on part 1 in terms of clearing the exams. So you have to appear for part 1 first. Now, if you clear part 1, you can appear for part 2. You can also get part 1 and part 2 together, but if you don't clear part 1, you'll have to reappear for part 2. We've seen a mix. We've seen students who appear for both parts together as well as them individually, depending on the time, the energy, basically the effort you've put in when it comes to studying these exams. Next comes, how long does it take you to complete this exam? Again, on an average, it takes between 12 to maybe 14 months. So you should take a year, and I think you guys can comfortably complete this kind of an exam within a year. So think about it like this. If you want to do FRM plus CFA, it's the perfect time. If you've just given your 12th or you are somewhere in your college years yet, pick up FRM, finish it within a year, get one qualification in your belt so that you can move ahead in life, and along with that, post that, your eligibility for CFA any which ways begins towards the end of your graduation. So complete your FRM first, and then if you want, you have the ability to pick up CFA. If you wait only for CFA and you chill in your first 2 years, you'll probably be forced to complete CFA, which in turn you might take a longer time to clear. You will not have some strong qualification like an FRM already in your belt so that your career can start while you study for CFA. You'll be too dependent on a qualification which you start a little late. That's why we tell people begin as soon as you can. Next comes the exam window. Part 1 takes place thrice a year and part 2 takes place twice a year. Keep a lookout on the website for official changes of the months in which you can actually appear for these exams. Alright, next is the passing rate. So we've seen on an average that the part 1, you have around a 45% passing rate, which means out of a class of 100, 45 people end up clearing part 1 globally. And part 2 is a little easier, and there's a reason for it. But part 2, basically, you have 63% people who end up clearing. Lastly, the paper pattern. For most of you guys, when we counsel students, one of the main questions is, people somehow equate multiple choice questions to an easy exam. So if you're one of them, then entire FRM is pure objective questions or pure multiple choice questions. That's it. Next, coming to the scope of FRM. So if you're a student who wants to get into finance, right? Finance is so vast that you always have great companies. Like, as always, I think I've mentioned it in the last, 100 videos I've created, that your KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, EY, Grant Thornton, BDO are always there. And if you talk about MNCs and credit rating companies like CRISIL and Moody's and S&P, all of these are all available for you guys to take a job in. But FRM is something that any company requires, irrespective of the industry. financial risk is growing in the world more and more because of right from aspects of cybersecurity to as digital payments are growing in volume every year. Companies need people who understand how to make decisions that reduce the risk of incorrect financial decisions, which is what FRM specializes in. So if you get a great job in one of these dream companies of yours, awesome. But if not, looking at any organization from the lens of financial risk is going to be worth it. So when it comes to looking for some form of an opportunity, I think if you're good at the subject, you'll basically have scope no matter where you go in the world. You need to work for at least 2 years in the relevant field, and you have to be a graduate before you can actually complete your FRM qualification as in terms of earning a license or becoming a member. If you just complete your exams, you are you've covered the most difficult part, which is the studying aspect. But remember that all these professional qualifications expects us to demonstrate how we can actually use our knowledge in the real world. Lastly, coming to the fee structure. FRM on an average, you can say, will cost you between 2 to 2.5 lakhs over a period of a year. And this includes, as always, as I mentioned, everything. What you pay to the GARP body, your registration, your part 1 exam, your part 2 exam. The reason I've given a range is because you can pay the part 1 and part 2 exam as an early bird where you get a slight discount. And of course, if you include the training fees, the study material, any other fees that is included in FRM, I think around a 2.5 range is what you can have in mind and complete a qualification that hopefully will provide you global exposure. So I think this should cover majority of the doubts that you guys have. If I've missed anything, as always, please leave it in the comments, and whatever else you would like us to create, feel free to let us know. We'll definitely make those kind of videos as well.